Mr. Heavyweight Boxing today?
Hey, what's up, man? This is Chris, the Nightmare Ariel, and you're watching Mr. Boxing.
Heavyweight boxing fans, what's the deal? All right, man, so I was on BoxingScene.com, and I seen this interview. The interview was via, the Zone's boxing show. And it was just, they took some quotes from the Eddie Hearn interview. And in that interview, Hearn was talking about the prospects of, who Anthony Joshua could possibly face next. Then he also was talking about, Dillian White. But let me just go over the Dillian White stuff and the AJ stuff. So with Dillian White, he was just saying that, White is somebody that he wished was a little bit more active, being that he had a fight in like spring of 2021, and then his next fight was spring of 2022. So wants him to be more active. He's trying to get Dillian White a fight in November. Then he also went on to say that White could be a possible opponent for AJ spring, summertime. All right, I'm glad that, I know White's name was being thrown around as a possible opponent for December by some fans, but I wouldn't want to see that in December. White and AJ is a fight. I mean, if it came to fruition and it made sense, I guess, but that's not really a fight that I'm really clamoring for. They already fought each other, and that was a good fight. But that's not really a rematch that I'm personally clamoring for. Then he also went on to say with Anthony Joshua that we know that Joshua wants to fight in December, and then he wants to come back after that in spring or summertime, all right? And we know all the news is going on right now is this whole Fury sending out a 60-40 split. Then Hearn came out as of yesterday and said, hey, we accept the offer, the 60-40. But there's more things that need to be discussed. So we'll see all that stuff plays out, all right? But I'm mainly more talking about if that fight doesn't happen. All right, and there's a lot of fans think that shit is just a little bit too, just not realistic, So we got to look at some other options. So in that interview that Hearn did, he also said that AJ does not want a gimme fight in December. He doesn't want, some type of fight where there's no risk. He wants an element of risk in the fight, all right? So some other names he was throwing out was Otto Wallin, Jili Zhang, and Hrgovic, okay? So to me, out of those three, the two that stand out are the southpaws. That's a lot of risk, right? Being that AJ's last two losses came to the same person, Usyk, but he's a southpaw. So some people think that it wasn't just only the footwork and the hand speed and the head movement from Usyk that was giving AJ problems, but it was the southpaw stance altogether. All right, so if you want some risk, I'll say get in there with Zhang. Zhang is a big, heavy-handed, southpaw. He's not going to be moving as much as Usyk. He's going to be there to be hit a little bit more, but he's also a much harder puncher than Usyk. So if AJ does want to stand there and bang, he's going to get his money's worth. You know what I'm saying? Especially if he's there just wanting to trade. So that could be a risk in my opinion. And a lot of people thought that he beat Hrgovic in that fight. And he's a former Olympian. He has that pedigree. So big puncher. All right, and then Otto Wallin, the other southpaw, had a good fight with Tyson Fury. Looked dominant against Dominic Brazil. Good southpaw. Him and AJ have been they sparred with each other numerous times. I know that AJ was using Otto Wallin in his training camp when he was preparing for southpaw Charles Martin. All right, so those are the two guys that I think that add that element of risk that Eddie Hearn and AJ is talking about, okay? But you guys, let me know think in the comment section about this, man. I know the AJ and Fury stuff's going on right now, but let's say that doesn't happen. That it doesn't happen. Wishful thinking, and he has to go on and move on to the next opponent. Which one of these three guys that Eddie Hearn has now came out with, and a lot of us fans, we've been talking about pretty much these same guys that he threw out there. But now that he's came out as of yesterday and talked about it again, and talking about this element of risk, out of these guys that I'm naming, which one do you think poses the most risk for Anthony Joshua in a comeback fight in December? Let me know what you think in the comment section. I'm gone.